In 1970, the Orioles beat the World Series, won the World Series in 5 over the Cincinnati Reds. The pitchers were Palmer, Phoebus, McNally, and Cuellar, who won the games. Brooks was the World Series MVP. Harry Dalton was the Executive of the Year. And Jim Palmer that year, 20 wins, 10 losses, an earned run average of 2.71, 17 complete games. I don't think they have 17 complete games in the American League right now, but here he is, the Hall of Famer, number 22, Jim Palmer. I just want to start right down the line and get the most important memory you had from the 70 World Series. Just when one finishes, just go right down. The whole 70 season and the World Series. What was the thing that stood out for Dick Hall?
Two things stood out for me were watching Brooks that series, and then I got a chance to finish up the second game and we won that one. That had the famous no tag at home plate play in it earlier.
With Bernie Carbo, obviously. Billy Hunter, you were waving a lot of guys home that year.
Yes, it was kind of nice, but it took us one more game in that World Series than it did in '66, so thanks to Eddie Watt.
Eddie Watt gave up the home run there to Lee May, right? Paul Blair. Everybody use their microphones a little closer to the mouth so everybody can hear. Paulie?
It was just a vindication of losing in '69 and dedicating ourselves to coming back and winning in 1970, and we completed the job this time. We didn't lose. We swept them, well, we didn't sweep them, but we went through them. That little big red machine and made them a little toy wagon. That was good.
Don Buford.
Well, fortunately, I had Brooks Robinson at third base and Belanger at short, so all I had to do was work, and Paul's in center, so all I had to do was worry about pop flies that come out to left field. So it was very memorable, and I only probably got 1 or 2 balls in the series. None of the ground balls came through because of Brooks and Belanger. But what a memorable series that was, and having the 420 game winners like we had.
Now, Boog, you hit a couple of home runs first 2 games of the World Series in 1970, but there's always this fabulous catch you made right in front of the dugout there, I remember on the video.
Yeah, I remember that. And like Paulie, I can remember the first inning of that game. We got behind against the Reds that year, and I says, not again. We got to stop this right now. So we turned it around right there. Yeah, and that catch, I don't know if anybody remembers that catch, but anyway, the ball bounced out of my glove and it went up in the air, and I caught it with one hand. A lot of people thought it hit me in the head, but it didn't. It went in my glove.
The Hall of Famer. I know you've got a lot to say, right?
No, I don't. Not with Blair here. I won't even get a chance to talk. You know what I remember? Paul makes a great point. We went to Mexico City. I don't know if you remember that. We left Miami on a Thursday night. Our record was 5-2. Year before, the year that I came back and we lost to the Mets, we were 19-5 in spring training. So we go to Mexico City, and you remember Pete Rickard throwing a 3-run home run with a 7-5 lead, and Earl did his ugly American act, throwing stuff around the locker room. And he said, "You guys have already lost 60% of the games we lost all last spring. Let's get back on track." We won the next 2 games, and I think Paul makes up a great point. When you lose to the Mets, and every time they run that on ESPN, I walk out of the room. I mean, they were a very good team, but they got every break, they got every call. They were a good ball club, but I think we learned our lesson in a short series. Anything can happen. So I think everybody, but probably the most thing that I remember is Elrod Hendricks, the late Elrod Hendricks, actually hitting a ball to left field. Probably the only time I remember doing it. Hit it right over the third base bag in that World Series, and I figured we're going to win this one.
And tagging out Bernie Carbo, too.
Oh, yeah. We think he tagged him out.